Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Your host, John Harcar here. Today, we're privileged to speak with Nancy Wallace-Laabs. And what we're going to talk about today is empowering women and having an ally in real estate. Remember, guys, here at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and really all real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their business by giving them the tools and the resources to build those businesses they've always wanted to build and live those lives they've always wanted to live. So, Nancy, welcome to the show.
Welcome, and thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so I'm excited to talk about this because, we had some off-camera time a little bit earlier, and I can feel your passion about this. But before we talking about helping women and having that ally, tell my audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay,
What got you here?
Well, I live in Frisco, Texas, which is a suburb north of Dallas. I'm a mom, a nana. I have 2 dogs. I've been married for 27 years. And I did start when I was 3. Let's be clear about that. I've been investing in real estate since 2006. Single family. I used to have a property management company, and there's always, you could do a whole show or a week's worth of shows about property management.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And my interest in real estate has just grown from my very first long-term rental to I have done flips, but really about building wealth. And then after I kind of learned along the way, because it seems like every year is like a brick by brick, oh, you learn this strategy. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
then you learn this strategy. So now today I'm able to teach classes to realtors about how to help their clients, find properties. I'm able to work with women that want to get into real estate investing. And I don't mind working with guys, right? But it's such a male dominated industry that there's more need for women to be
Mm-hmm.
coaching other women. And so I'm doing a presentation Thursday for our chamber here about our company. And, I was doing some research, and, only less than 32% of women nationwide invest in real estate.
Oh, wow. Did not know that
It's a very
stat.
small number. And the number one reason that they don't, according to Dr. Google, is fear. Fear of like, oh, I'm going to make a mistake or I'm going to lose my money or whatever. And then imposter syndrome, which that one but that's about the self-doubt and not having confidence, which I kind of leave that to, you don't really know the right people to get involved
Mm-hmm.
with. And so that's where, I know we're going to talk about that today, about knowing and networking and, not just doing the due diligence on the deal. Is it a deal? Doing
Sure.
the analysis, but the people that you're partnering with.
Right. I know you mentioned you started back around 2006, and obviously we know what happened around that time. And I like to ask folks that have been around that time, because we went through a small little stint here, and we're probably still in it, right? How did you navigate that, and what are some of the tools you think, or maybe things you focused on to get you to where you're at now?
So funny. So I actually benefited from the crash because I was buying my first property. I didn't know what I was doing. We got if people remember this, we've been around, I got my first loan from Countrywide Home Loans.
Countrywide. I remember
They were one of the
Countrywide.
top ones that were doing those subpar
I
loans.
probably
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
had one of the loans with them
so
before.
you could do like a 90-10-10, and you literally could buy investment properties with no money down. Now, I think you have to have skin in the game, and I was just too nervous about it. It was my first property, so we opted to we had 20% down. The value of the properties back then, I bought a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. My first one was like $115,000. So, we went down, rented. I kept that property. So, and I think what I learned though, because then I had friends that, they had a property and they went out when I came from Phoenix before all of that. And the property values just, got so inflated. They went out and took, refinanced, pulled out all that cash, and then went and bought cars and boats and, things that are not tangible for wealth building. Now, we did the same thing, except that we invested in real estate. So when the market fell in one area, we were able to take advantage.
Capitalize in the other
area. So I think just not because I knew anything, I just was, I'm going to say a little bit luck, but also because I was a conservative investor.
Sure.
I just said, hey, I don't want to have zero interest or zero into this property. I want to have something into it because I feel like, appreciation and all that. So I was looking at more at appreciating assets. And again, and I had a good mentor. So let me phrase that. When my very first property, I had a mentor that helped me through the process. And I think
this just a local flipper, local renovator?
Actually, what happened was it was a realtor that she was a big time investor. And the lady that sold our house here in Frisco, I said, hey, I'd watch a lot of HGTV. I was ready to rock and roll.
We all did.
And she introduced me to her. I said, hey, I want to do this. And she was a smart realtor. She said, I don't do that, which I appreciate that, because if you're a real estate agent listening to this and you don't buy real estate for yourself, then, be very cautious that saying you can help investors. Well, anyway, she ended up turning me on to a lady who was an investor. And I walked into her office and she didn't want to work with me. She handed me the Gary Keller Blue Book, Millionaire Real Estate Investor. And she said, read this, get back with me. And I read that thing in a day and a half. And to this day, that's still my Bible.
Wow.
And so that's how she mentored me. She took me out to look at properties. And now, knowing what I know now, what she would say to me is she would go to a house. And if it was a good deal, she'd say, if you don't buy this house, I will. So she kind of pushed you, right? I will. So, and that's how my journey started. And then from there, I really wanted to learn more about, being a better investor. So I ended up working with her and starting a property management company. And we did that for 10 years together, and we only managed single family homes. We didn't do apartments or, we did duplexes and small apartment complexes, but nothing of like that. So that's how, and every year I would buy a property and then I would learn something. And then every year I would buy a property. So I do want to share this with the audience because after 4 properties, I was like, well, where do you get the money? How do you scale? Because she had a lot of moolah, you know what I mean? So she didn't have to worry about, going to the bank. And that really was a challenge because after the subprime fallout of 2008, it was very hard to get money for your investment property. So I had 4 and they were all in my personal name. So I couldn't, I didn't even have, no one told me about an LLC or blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it was, I just kept asking, and somebody finally turned me on and introduced me to a credit union that did a commercial loan. So I wrapped all 4 of the properties together, pulled out all the equity, and then I was able to buy more properties. Leverage.
Awesome. Leverage, that's the name of the game. Are you still currently doing any type of property management stuff, or have you put that by the wayside?
I gave that up, I gave that up a few years ago. it's property management is one of those things. I mean, you can make a nice living off of, but after a while, 10 years of
It
tenants
beats
and
on you.
toilets. I mean, and it was so funny because even my rentals, I continue to manage them, even though that's not probably the best use of my time. But I used to teach property management courses. So every time I would meet a property manager and I'd ask them basic questions and they didn't know, I was like, no. So I finally found a couple that I do trust here in the Dallas area.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
They're phenomenal, but it still was, I'm such a control freak. It was a little hard for me to turn them over, but I finally did.
So you did the whole property management thing, and were you still flipping houses? Were you still, I mean, what did your business look like then?
You know what I did? I haven't flipped a ton of houses because if I found a good deal, because I find off-market properties, right? So if I get them at a really good deal, I'm hanging on to them. So I've only flipped maybe less than 10 houses. That wasn't really my whole thing of flipping houses. And I've probably just wholesaled a handful of them. So I would normally keep the houses, and then just, build the rental portfolio. And then after a while, when the markets went up, here when it got high and I had all this appreciation, then I started selling them and then, doing a 1031 to avoid the capital gains tax.
Yep.
And then we moved into passive investing, right? So I don't have as many rentals as I used to because now I'm at a certain point in my life where I just don't want all of that.
Don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, I just want to get the mailbox money. So then I moved into owner financing. We ended up doing some oil and gas. We do have a commercial deal that we're in. So yeah, so I wanted to kind of expand. And right now what I'm seeing, so I didn't buy any properties for 2-3 years, I guess, because it was just so expensive here, right?
Sure, yeah,
it went up the values outside Texas, but now you can see the market shifting a bit, right?
Yeah.
You can still find houses under my ideal house is under the ARV after repair value is under $250,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, built after 1984. And you can still find those properties here believe it or not, in DFW. So
you still can
still find them. And I like to go out into the secondary markets as well to do my owner finance. So you can still find them a little bit harder, but what I've noticed is that the days on market are getting longer and longer.
They are. And it's funny you mentioned he goes to some of those tertiary markets for some of the owner finance stuff, because I've heard that before in some of those smaller pockets or smaller areas, it just seems like people are more willing to utilize that type of strategy.
Well, and also you can buy properties. So I could go into that because I'm a broker. I can go in and look at the MLS and I can do a search for properties. Let's say the value is 0 to 100,000 and you can find properties. Now, they're not going to be the, short-term rental, but sometimes those properties are diamonds in the rough that you can buy for under 100,000. You can get a private money lender to loan you the money. This is what I normally do. Get a private money lender, buy the house, and then turn around and owner finance it, and you're making money off of the deposit that they're giving you. So if I buy a house for, let's say, $70,000, then I turn around and I owner finance it for 100. Well, I'm going to ask for 20% down. Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to get my 20,000.
Do like a lease option type of deal or owner finance.
Well, we don't do lease option here in Texas because you can do like up to 6 months. So it's strictly owner finance.
Owner finance.
But what I like to do, and I've done that like with my self-directed IRA. So my most famous deal I did was I got a property in the historic district of Fort Worth for $10,000. Now this was in 2018. Yeah. And I know that area, so I've got it under contract, sight unseen. The guy, I sent him a postcard. It's just such an investor move, right? I sent a bunch of postcards to absentee owners. He got the card. I wasn't the first investor that called him, but him and I, we bonded over football. My husband's a big Packers fan, and he was, I don't remember, the Chiefs or something like that. Anyway, he said, yeah, my wife's been bothering me about selling that house. He grew up in the house. And I bought it for 10. He actually had liens for the grass and everything for like $8,000.
That's
So we
it? I
got the
mean,
house, yeah. And
what
we
did the house
ended up,
need? Was it a lot of deferred maintenance? Was it, I mean,
it was like almost a tear down as soon as,
okay. All right.
so we contacted the city. I did.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Have a partner on that. Anyway, long story short, we ended up putting a sign in the yard said owner will finance. 3 days later, we sold it for $50,000. I bought it
Good
for
for
10,
you.
and and our terms were 10% down, or I'm sorry, 20% down. So we got our $10,000 right off the bat, and we financed $40,000 for 15 years at 10.5%.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's a little
That,
it's not like, for me that's a home run, right? Because it's like $200 every 225, 400 a
and
month.
you
I
got
don't
your
have
money
to
right
worry
back
about,
up.
right?
You got your money right back up
Yeah,
front. So you're
and
into the deal with nothing.
and it's all going into my self-directed IRA, so I'd never pay taxes on it till I
And
pull it out. Yeah, so
very smart, very smart. So let's talk about Money Making Mamas. Money Making Mamas is your training. Is it your training company?
yes. So my daughter and I launched Money Making Mamas. So my daughter Kelsey, she's got my two grandbabies. They're 3 and 2. And she had a very high powered, management job with a Fortune 500 company. When she came ready to go back to work after her second child, she managed like 20 salespeople. So that's a
Wow.
stressful job, right?
Oh yeah.
And then you got your toddlers, and that's stressful. And she just
Those are worse
had
than
to
the
make
salespeople.
yeah, and she had to make a decision because she didn't feel like she could be 100% of her job and 100% with her family. And then the cost of daycare is just, it's just outrageous. And she literally would be working to pay for daycare. So she had always been on the fringes of investing. Like she, when we did do flips, she'd like paint cabinets and, but she wasn't really into the real estate investing thing because
Sure.
we used to drag her along when she was a kid, I think. She never saw the value.
Right.
Anyway, she came
Force
to me and said,
value.
hey, could I do this? She was looking to replace her income. So we sat down, as mother and daughters need to have a talk about, money and how this is going to work and things like that. And long story short, we ended up from the lead generation that I do up for off market. We found a property, we wholesaled it because she wanted to just get some cash and it really wasn't something we wanted. And she made some money. And she's like, Mom, I want to do this all the time and I need to teach other moms. So we launched this whole thing. It's geared towards moms. Now, guys, we ended up having a focus group, and it's so funny because the moms are looking for something for themselves. When as women, we have a tendency to take care of everybody else but ourselves. So when we had the focus group, we had about 10 women that we wanted to, see how they would want to learn about real estate investing. Their time is very limited. So how can we make this work for the moms? So we rolled out just membership. A lot of things are recorded. We created a podcast so that we could show up when they needed us to show up. Both Kelsey and I will go and look at properties with them. We help them with the lead generation. So we make it as simple as possible, but also give them support. Now, one of the things that came out of the focus group that we had is that the women wanted to invest together. Now, they didn't necessarily know each other. And I said, okay, well, if we're going to do that, we need to have kind of I guess maybe a controlled environment, but more a safe environment because we have one of our 4 core principles is safety, and not just about being safety when you go look at properties, but safely investing. And so as you and I talked about, you really have to vet the people that you're going to invest with. And it sounds very glamorous. Oh, I'm going to throw in with Susie and Mary and, and we're all going to buy a property together. But you don't realize that there's tax implications for that. What if y'all get into a fight? What if one of you dies? You know what I mean? I mean, there's so many things. So I said, if we're going to do it, we're going to learn to do it the right way. And you have to be able to talk about money. So in part of our coaching that we do is talking about that mindset because depending on how you grew up, like I grew up in a very chaotic household and we didn't, sometimes we had a lot of money and sometimes we didn't. We never talked
Sure.
about it.
Yeah.
So if you're not able to like talk about money, especially with other people, and sometimes that's hard to do, right? So
Well,
we talk about
a lot of us grew up taboo to talk about
yes,
money.
like it was bad manners to
Yeah.
talk about money,
You don't
right?
you
So
don't
like
ask your father like that. You don't ask him what his, that's how a lot of us were brought up, and that's why it's so difficult for folks to. And I'm
yes,
glad that you
and
focus on that.
yeah, because one of the things, like I've done one deal with $100, but you have to have money. When I hear people say, "Oh, you can buy houses with no," you need some money. You don't need a ton, but you need some money. Maybe you want to do an inspection. I don't know. Maybe you have to pay $100. You have to pay escrow money. You have to have
Yeah.
money. So when people say I have bad credit, okay, well we can work with that. But I do have to ask them. I said, well, do you have money to invest? And they'll say, well, I have a little. Well, what's a little? Are we talking about $5,000? Are we talking about 20,000? Are we talking about 300? And then if I know that, then I can help you grow into investing. So maybe you can't take down a $250,000 house today because you don't have a down payment and you have bad credit. But that doesn't mean you can't start elsewhere, like owner financing or
Yeah.
learning how to use an option or, so there's so many strategies, but you have to have the initial talk. So with the women, what we want to do in our community is to make it safe. Like everybody feels safe and there's no stupid questions. I mean,
Hmm.
I ask one of my I annoy people because I ask so many questions because I'm like, okay, I don't take no for an answer. It's
Good
like,
for
well, why
you.
not? Why
Good
can't
for
you do
you.
that? And when you find a property that you feel might be a good deal, I mean, the numbers don't lie, right?
Hmm.
So if you can't take it down from, this, we're going to talk like 70% of ARV minus repairs. Well, if you took it subject to and you had, the seller was paying you, I mean, is there another way to get it? Because,
Right.
sometimes we're just doing straight flips. I think it's harder to take down the property. And
Hmm.
then people ask me all the time about, you guys probably get this about wholesaling because they think that's an easy way to make money. But
Hmm.
the truth of the matter is you have to be a dynamic and dynamite negotiator to get that house so low to be able to make money to wholesale it.
You do, and that is a lot of things some of the people struggle with, and
Mhm.
that's where a lot of these new strategies came about. As far as your knowledge or your introduction into this whole creative type of world, was this from that mentor, or is this something that you picked up?
I picked it up. So she only knew, because she had a big bankroll. So she only knew 20% down, buy the house, 20% down. So, not all of us can do that, right?
Right.
And as an investor, I don't really want to tie up all my, even if I had now knowing what I know, I wouldn't want to tie up my cash like that. So
Hmm.
I would go to lunch and learns. I got another mentor. I read books. I got on podcasts. I listened to Investor Fuel. Networking with other investors. There's a lot of stuff out on Facebook, but the thing is, you have to be careful. You don't want to
Definitely.
don't give people money over Facebook. But,
Right.
I just started, it was really self-education about this. And I made plenty of mistakes along the way.
Sure.
Fortunately, though, because I'm conservative, I didn't make huge financial mistakes. But I have gone to the closing table with a cashier's check in hand, and it was not to, it was just to pay it off because I didn't partner correctly, right?
Uh-huh.
So I
Uh-huh.
think that's something that I do try to focus with people because I can't think of one person that really teaches you how to correctly partner. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I can
What?
have a friend and say this, but if they have no business sense, they're not going to make a good partner. I think people, just because I like you doesn't make you a good business partner.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really, obviously each partnership or each specific situation would have a depth of how, really,
Mm-hmm.
I do believe getting to know somebody first before you do something like that. Because like you said, I mean, what if we have an argument? Like, what if
Yes.
those little things that you don't think about happen? You know
Yes.
what I
Well,
mean?
and just for me, being a broker, so I'm a real estate broker, and if I partner with non-broker people, so when you're doing a flip, so this actually
Hmm.
happened to me. We were doing a flip, and my partner kind of wanted to take, I'm not saying shortcuts, but maybe not get everything permitted the way it should be. Well,
Right.
as a realtor, you could be sued, like you sell the
Yeah.
house and then you didn't
Yeah.
permit. I mean, you could be sued for that. So I think realtors, when people say, well, should I get my real estate license? I want to be an investor. Well, it doesn't really go hand in hand, right?
Mhm.
So I'm not saying when you're an investor, but sometimes investors look, they're trying to do the quickest turn on a flip or something. So I think you just have to be careful that you're providing a safe product for the end buyer.
Do you have a lot of realtors, or have you reached out to your realtor network to help teach these ladies this? Or
So yes, it's so funny because a couple, I guess it was like during COVID, I had a lot of my realtor friends call me because everybody was getting into the short-term rental business. They want to get an Airbnb, and the realtors, there was no training for them about how to help their clients identify a property. So I was contacted by a title company to do a Zoom training, and they had over 100, and it's a big title company. They had over 150 people on the Zoom call.
Wow.
They asked me to come back, another 150. So right there, I knew there was a need. So I ended up writing a CE course, a continuing education course through Texas Realtors to teach realtors the basics of identifying properties for short-term rental. And I was so excited. I got to present that at the statewide conference last August.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's so cool.
Yeah, so I teach realtors how to help their clients find investment properties. I teach them about exit strategies. And most recently, I started teaching realtors about how to find off-market listings through pre-probate training, because a lot of realtors don't even know about pre-probate leads, which is different from probate. So pre-probate, and here, if you're listening to this anywhere, Texas, you can actually take a property and you don't have to, if someone passes away, and you can actually purchase the property through what's called an affidavit of heirship, work with a title company to do all of that. But the property does not have to go through probate. Now in Florida, I did a webinar there for them, and you have to. You have to go through probate. But the thing is, the leads, right? The leads are, I want to say, fresh.
And that's huge. That's a lot of folks don't get them.
When I get my leads, I get them every Wednesday, and literally the person passed away last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And so these aren't the kind of leads you can call up and go, hey, I'm an investor, I want to buy your house, or send a text to these people. That is not going to work. No. So I have been doing these leads since 2018, and I feel like I've kind of perfected how to reach these folks. And I teach that now to real estate agents, because of the leads that I get, I might only be marketing to 15-20% of the leads I get every month. And so there's all these leads because the property value is included on the leads, and it goes anywhere, we're talking about over $1 million properties. Now, Investor Fuel probably does those big high-end properties, but Nancy,
it doesn't fit your buy box. Yeah, it doesn't fit what you're looking to do. No, and that's awesome. Like, one of the biggest things, I love working with realtors, but sometimes it's frustrating because they just don't know our world in a sense. And you're educating them, you're teaching them, and not to do anything more than give them more opportunity. And that's, I think, which is an incredible part.
Yes. And the reason I got down the short-term rental, just really quick story, a realtor contacted me, and her client, she already sold him the $750,000 property, and it wasn't making any money as a short-term rental. And there were just so many things that, it was a nice brand new build in the wrong area. They had an unlicensed property manager, and she just didn't know anything about short-term rentals. And I said to her, well, why did you think it would make a good short-term rental? She goes, well, it's brand new. And I even talked to the owner, and I was like, okay, this is why you're not making any money. And he's not ever going to make the kind of money that he wanted to. It's an oversaturated area. And I always say, if you're going to have a short-term rental, like an Airbnb, then make sure that property, there's another exit strategy. Because right now, the short-term rental market, everybody got into it. Now you can just see all these houses that are for sale because people aren't making any money on their short-term rentals.
I was always told to evaluate it no matter what is a long-term, right? If it can fit as a long-term rental, then you decide you want to do it to a short-term, okay, cool. Worst comes worst, it'll always be able to live and last as a long-term rental.
Exactly.
If I was a mom of kids, I'm not a mom of kids, but if I were, and I wanted to get into this, what do you think is the biggest thing they need to do? The first thing they need to do, or what would you recommend they do to set them up for success?
Well, number one, call us. No. But I think they have to have a plan, because it's one thing. So moms get really busy. I remember, especially when you have little kids, your time, you don't have a lot of time. So you have to have a plan. So what we try to do is get with the moms and say, what's your overall goal? And then let's break that down into bite size. Maybe they only have 15, 20 minutes a day. Great. Here's how you can look for properties in 15 or 20 minutes. That's what my daughter did. I had her I had her take 20, 30 minutes a day and go on Zillow, get familiar with neighborhoods. I was able to kind of set her up on Sins because I had my list. And then whenever you're out and about, take an extra 5 minutes and do driving for dollars. Start making your list. And then the third thing is to tell everyone that you are a real estate investor, even if you haven't bought your first house, because somebody knows somebody that knows somebody that has a house that, and I always say, I like to work with people who the house cannot be sold on the real estate market, right? So you're looking for people that need to sell fast. And then they can also, like the way I do my marketing, it's all turnkey. It's a low cost marketing. So I'm just going to tell you how I do it. I have a mom that I hire that's in my neighborhood. She writes my handwritten cards for me that are very simple. The most expensive thing, I get my blank note cards off of Amazon. They're 18 cents a piece. And the first class postage, right? I pay her like $10 an hour to write these cards for me. She mails them out every 2 weeks. Then I just sit back and I answer the phone.
Awesome.
Very, very simple. So a mom could do that. And when the mom says, well, I can't answer the phone, that's what voicemail's for. We help you set up a really nice voicemail so that when someone does call, they leave you a message. And then when the baby's taking a nap, or you maybe get up 10 minutes early in the morning and return the phone calls. And you know what? People who are in a distressed situation, they respond to moms with little kids. They're like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry my baby's crying in the background, because
it's life. It's real. It's real.
You're just doing this good thing for your family. I mean, my daughter, she gets more, okay, I've been investing for a long time. So I'm just like, I'm not going to say the word old, but I've been around. Right? So I don't inspire people because they're like, well, she already's been doing it. But my daughter, she inspires people because she's living what we're teaching.
Well, I would love to have another podcast episode with you and your daughter together on.
Yes.
I think that would be killer. But I love everything you shared today. Guys, I hope you guys enjoyed everything that was shared today, especially women out there, that are looking to get into this. Nancy, how do they get a hold of you? What's your website? How do they link up with you?
So they can find us on social. So it's Money Makin, MAKIN, no G, Mamas. Because if you put the G, then I can't be responsible for that site that comes up. And then we're on our podcast. We're on Spotify. We're on Amazon. We're on Apple. So we're all on those platforms. We have a YouTube channel, Money Makin Mamas. So if you just type in Money Makin Mamas, go to our website. And we have resources there. So we have a quiz. So like, are you ready? Like, you just take a quiz. It'll let you know. 2, we have our Millionaire Mama Masterclass. It's completely free. You sign up for it and it tells more about Kelsey and I, that's my daughter, and how we make money, what our secret sauce is. And 3, we have, like, let's say you found a property and you wanted to analyze it. So we have a flip calculator on there. We have a BRRRR, to see if it's going to be a long-term rental. So we have resources. And then we also have a link to our community so you can find out more about our community and if it's something for you. And then you can always reach me at nancy@moneymakinmamas.com. It's a boatload of words there, but remember the Makin is MAKIN, and then it's Mamas, MAMAS.com. I even have a hard time with it.
Awesome. Well, we'll put all that in the notes, the show notes, so everybody will have the links to everything. So, Nancy, I appreciate it. It was a blast talking to you. Like I said, I really do want to do another one with you and your daughter. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yes, we'll just have to film it around the kids' nap time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What I'll almost have to do. So, hey guys, thank you again for joining us today. I hope you got as much out of it as I did, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.